The team is demonstrating the first key element of this case, that the UFO moved miles in an instant. Ted and Barron, as the UFO, make a very fast and exaggerated turn at maximum speed.
It jumped from here to here, just like that.
Bill Scott and Joker attempt to follow from a slow and gliding start.
Roger, on this one we got to simulate a right turn trying to track the target, and this is simulating the target jumping 10 degrees in a very short amount of time. Barron has the lead. All right, Bill, looks like we got target acquisition about 9:30, 10 o'clock. All of a sudden he jumped over to 10:30 in the space of about a split second.
Yeah, like 10-degree jumps at a time, it looks like.
All right, now he's over there at about 11 o'clock.
Yep.
We're in the right turn trying to track him here. Every time we get close enough, he jumps out about another 10 degrees. At about 25 miles out, that's about a 3-mile change every second or so.
Yeah, it's pretty dramatic.
It's just an instantaneous acceleration. He's not even, it's just a split second, and he's another 10 degrees over there. Now he's at about 11 o'clock.
Even at this reduced scale, the movements Ted and Barron's plane execute makes it nearly impossible for Joker and Bill to follow. Imagine this scenario when both craft are traveling at over 1,000 miles per hour.
That's certainly no aircraft I've ever seen.
The team's second simulation will demonstrate the incredible speed at which the secondary object was moving as it raced directly at Jafari's F-4 Phantom. Although the single-engine Marchetti aircraft being flown today are nowhere near the F-4 Phantom's capabilities, they will be able to demonstrate the sense of speed and closure rate that Jafari experienced as the secondary UFO approached and circled his supersonic fighter.
We'll check about 90 right, and Barron will set up another pass. Okay, Barron is coming in. Roger. Not a whole lot of margin for error there.
This is what it looks like when two objects, both traveling at 160 miles per hour, pass in opposite directions at a distance of 50 feet. It is just a blur. Now imagine this scenario at night, and both Jafari and the UFO are traveling toward each other at a combined speed of over 2,000 miles per hour. The team repeats this maneuver, this time even faster and even closer. The day after the event, September 19th, 1976, the crash site was reportedly searched and tested for radiation. But according to Jafari, nothing was found, despite the numerous reports.
Okay, let's go home.
So what was the experience? I mean, here you are coming at each other at what, 160 miles an hour?
Yeah, about 130 knots, and they were doing about 130 knots closing. That's about 320. It happens in a blink of an eye. You know, they're a tiny black speck way off in the distance, and a few seconds later, they're blowing right by you, 300 plus miles an hour.
He's flying that way, and suddenly when he goes to take a defensive position, because the object makes a hostile move towards him, his missile panel locks up.
Well, first of all, as a pilot, if your instrument panel goes down, you are in deep. There's no way it's meant to happen. These systems are built, they've evolved. They're the most robust engineering that we have. You know, it's equipment that's used for war. It's got to be incredibly robust. It's got to last up through, you know, bullets going through it. And to have your entire panel go down is stunning. And it's not just the pneumatic system. It's not just the electrical system. It was all the systems. And like, I can't even imagine an explanation for how that would happen physically.
The biggest mystery of this case remains. It's a fact that Jafari lost all instrumentation and use of his weapon systems through some electrical anomaly.
So there was something affecting the comm panel and the missile system, we know for sure.
Was this caused by the UFO? the team puts Jafari's key theory to the test.
In the Iranian case, when the F-4 ran out there, the pilot, I'm sure, was very confident. He had one of the top fighters of the world. Go check it out. And then when something came at him very quickly, you know, he immediately saw it as a threat. So he, you know, armed an AIM-9 missile, master arm, went to fire, everything locked up on him.
The team heads to experiments producer John Tyndall's lab to participate in an EMP demonstration.
Tyndall's going to show us what might have happened to the AIM-9 weapons panel on Jafari's F-4 Phantom jet when he tried to lock his missile on to defend himself against what he believed to be an attack by a UFO.
My demonstration today is basically to recreate an EMP event such as that might have been experienced in this certain Iranian case that we're investigating. This UFO seemed to fire some sort of a pulse at the fighter jet, and it knocked out a lot of the electronics. So basically, I have an EMP generator. We're going to kind of investigate what was going on in the Iranian case.
His instrumentation all went down, weapons locked, and somehow this thing was able to basically control his airplane and prevent him from firing.
What we have here is basically a modified Tesla coil, and what that means is we're going to take house current at 110 volts, take it up to 15,000 volts. The charge is building up within the capacitors until it reaches a threshold, and then bam, it is going into this coil and inducing current up into this coil.
If the test is successful, John will be able to knock out a standard consumer computer without fully disabling it, illustrating that a similar event could happen on a much larger scale.
One of the things about onboard computers and fly-by-wire airplanes is that they usually have a built-in protection, which is the airframe itself. We're going to set up a flight simulator here and show how the effects of this EMP burst will disrupt, you know, flight computers or any kind of computer for that matter. Whoa! All right, level it off, baby.
Pretty good, I'm easing in.
So we can say at this point we're like about to say at the 25-mile point. I think you want to come over next to me.
Okay.
Lights. All right. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1.
$15,000 volts of low amperage power was able to shut down the computer. But will it turn back on after such a dramatic EMP event?
Okay, we're disarmed. Jeff, see if you can reboot the computer.
Here's the attempt.
Hey, wow.
Oh, and you are getting some computer operation there.
Yep, it came back. CPU did not die.
Like Jafari's electronics, the computer returns to normal at the end of the pulse.
John, you've demonstrated that you're able to render a panel on that computer inoperative in much the same way that an electron beam or whatever beam that UFO fired rendered Jafari's controls inoperable on that night in 1976.
If we're talking about an extraterrestrial civilization visiting us, they may have technology that's far superior to what we have in the lab today.